Mic check. 1 2 1 2. They want beef with the king. What is you gonna do? When he show up on the scene with his two guns drew. What up, y'all? It's Chief back in the building in the Lion's Den. Welcome to another episode of Doormen. Today we got a quick episode. I want to break this down. I was talking about this a couple episodes ago, and I wanted to visit this because this was kind of one of the biggest security scenes, I would say, that the public kind of knows about that happened this year. And I'm referring to the Rick Ross altercation that happened in Canada. Rick Ross was at an event in Canada. This was at the peak of the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Rick Ross threw his 2 cents into the equation. He made a diss song. Him and Drake have had beef back and forth. Long story short, he was at a show. I don't think it was a show, but it was kind of it was an event he was at, and he was speaking, performed a song or two. As he was exiting the stage, he played the song Not Like Us, which is the infamous diss song that Kendrick Lamar made about Drake. This stirred up emotions and feelings in people in Drake's hometown, where he's from, where he is an icon, he's a legend, and it invited trouble. Now, ultimately, this is what occurred during that scene. We'll break this down from a security perspective, and then there was a few good points that I saw that Joe Budden Podcast made about this, and we'll dissect that a little bit as well. So let's look at this. Yeah, so this right out, starting out the gate, you see Ross has come off the stage, and he is immediately confronted by a group. They begin to have a back and forth. Things begin to get hostile. Now you see the security right here. The security is the closest to the camera. It's the back of his head right there. He's got the long hair. And this just begs the question, why are we still here? Are they blocking the way? Later on, it's revealed they are not blocking the way. It seems that the way out is to the left and behind where they are. So we're staying here having a conversation for some reason. And let's see what happens. Punches are thrown. Now, immediately, even the security, this is like event security that started out having a little tussle with the bodyguard here. Before the punch was thrown, already there was some hostility, and the event security here ended up getting physical with the bodyguard. And punch thrown. Bodyguard, he pushed the camera out of the way. The event security guy didn't like it, and he started to push the bodyguard's hand. So that kind of initiated the physicality, and then it escalated.
What's up, nigga? What's up, nigga?
And this is obviously worst case scenario. Bodyguard, he did what he had to do given the situation. We should have never been here, but here we are. Punches got thrown. He got involved, got in the mix. And then, as you see, the client got in the mix, and he opened up himself to be in the fight as well. But typically people aren't going to just hit celebrities and things like that, but the bodyguard ends up getting the worst of this. Yeah, he ends up running into some shots. He gets put down there. They're kicking him, they're punching him. We'll skip that part of it. So, yeah, we'll skip that. So they started kicking and punching him. He got the worst of that exchange. The bodyguard was definitely put in the situation there. He was outnumbered and he was put down. So then this is after this situation, this initial situation that happened. We still don't leave immediately. For some reason, even after a fight has happened, we're still in the building, and this happens after that initial altercation. It's hard to believe.
What's up, nigga? You gonna press us out in our fucking city, nigga? What's up?
Again, Ross is still in the building. This guy in the white hat begins to walk by. He's the same guy that was there in the altercation earlier. The gentleman with looks like he's got some locks. He swings again, and we start to fight again. Again, with Ross right in the mix. Still, we have not left this same area. The bodyguard comes back, doing what he has to do now, even though it's, again, he didn't start it, but he's got to be in the mix. So the guy in the dreads is taking punches again. The DJ here, this is the guy who's sitting here unconscious. He is unconscious. He's knocked out. And this whole situation is it's a crazy one. So many things have gone wrong. People have dissected this. And this is just a prime example of a situation, guys. If you have your client in a situation, it's as we talked about in the past few days, getting them immediately from wherever they're leaving the stage and getting them to the vehicle quickly is important. Why weren't there? First off, I don't know the dynamics of, the layout of the venue, but why was immediately when we come off the stage, why are we immediately met with the crowd? Why do we have to walk through the crowd? In this situation, you know where you're at. You know you're in hostile territory during a beef, and you're playing a controversial song when you leave. If you wanted to have that kind of exit, you should have left at the back of the stage. You should have had event security already lined up so that when we come off the stage, we know we're going to be coming in hot, and we got our vehicle waiting, engine running, door open, and we're coming off that stage, hitting the back door, getting in the car immediately, and leaving. This wasn't planned well, and they ended up paying the price. So that's what that was. So I want to point out this Joe Budden podcast. They made a couple of good points, and we'll touch on a few of these as well.
Some more player. Somebody in your camp got to know that this is not the place to do that. One, and two, don't hire security if you're gonna look to jam them up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Y'all doing that shit for the optics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it could have been on the gram.
Your job is to make sure if you hiring security, that means it was on your mind. It was on your mind. You being prepared for all variables. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. It's your job when you do that to ensure everyone gets home safely. It's your job. Mm-hmm. It's not security's job. Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting point. I don't necessarily agree with him when he says that you brought security, so you were already preparing to do something goofy. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Ross typically has security with him. Most people that are on that level already have security. So it wasn't that he only had security because he was planning on doing something silly. But I definitely think that it's on the client to make sure that everybody moves safely at times. Because if a client is reckless, there is nothing that security can do. He has to get involved. Like, we can't ensure all the time that we are going to be safe, because we're at the mercy oftentimes of a client. So if a client just decides, I'm going to do something reckless and I'm going to jump off the stage into the crowd and punch somebody, we have to react. We have to put ourselves in a position to save them, protect them, fight, whatever we have to do. So it is ultimately on the client. That's a good perspective that he brought right there. So yeah, that's something for clients to think about as well. Yeah, it's up to you sometimes to move right and accordingly, because as security, we can only do so much. We can do as much planning. We can do as much talking to you and saying, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. But ultimately, it's on the client how safe we can be. As security, we can't tell the client, you have to do this and you have to do that. That's not the way it works. We're at the mercy of the client a lot of times. So that was a good point. Let's look at this.
I don't want to hear none of this shit. He's too smart. So now you get up out of there because you a star.
Yeah.
You a star. So when it pop off, you gonna be handled like a star. Your DJ is not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Poor DJ.
He'll get left behind.
They popped off on him first.
Yeah, one little pop.
Listen,
it was one little pop.
shouldn't be able to.
It shouldn't have been in his face that long. You asked for
That's
that.
about-
You
that's
asked
my-
for that
that's my
pop.
point.
You asked for that. Why are you standing in these Vancouver niggas' faces?
Because the
this
cameras
long?
is on.
Yes.
The cameras is on. Niggas got their phones out. It's mad niggas with their phones out. You don't want to look pussy. And so you gonna sit there and entertain that shit.
So stupid.
Your security almost had a permanent nap. That big dude, they was dragging him all over that
Stopping him,
place.
kicking him in the face, all that.
That was mercy, where they allowed him to gather himself and get the fuck out of there.
And then they separated. They separated and it stopped at a certain point and it got rocking again.
Right.
Like at that point, once everything's separate, it's time to get out of here. It's over.
As an adult, it's important to know when you fighting a fight that bears no gain.
Great point. Great point. At a certain point, you got to realize when what you're doing makes no sense. And you got to put pride to the side. You've got to get out of there. And what security failed to do in that situation, especially the second time, maybe the first time there's not much you can do, but that's after that initial situation and that first fight happened, we are outnumbered, to say the least. We're in someone else's country. We're not even in our own country. And we've been in an altercation. We've lost. At some point, as security, you have to grab that client and say, we're leaving now, because the people who we fought, they're still in the building. They're regrouping. We're regrouping. I can't keep you safe. We've already seen I can't keep you safe in this environment. And we've also seen that I can't trust you to make the right judgment call in this environment. So we have to go now. It's easy to say after the fact, I understand that, but in that situation, you got to be vocal and you have to get that. You have to, even if it's forcibly, you got to get that client out of there at that point, because it's unsafe for them. It's unsafe for you. And that second altercation where that DJ got knocked unconscious, that could have been completely avoided. So, that's just an unfortunate situation. That was a great point made. And I want to listen to this last point here that they make. This is a good point right here. Let me cue this up.
The other,
something.
get a nigga in the ear.
That pissed me
That's
off.
the other thing. If I hire security and now it's on, nigga, we on.
We on. There we go.
I'm not leaving security. We just thumping together. When it's hand-to-hand combat.
I didn't
I
like
ain't
it.
talking, but that's my other problem. You out of town and nobody's armed, just shoot in. Bah! Real quick.
I mean, that could have been an
That could have
intentional.
went crazy though.
Yeah, that could have been intentional. They might have been armed and just chose not to go that route.
Bad decision.
Very bad.
Bad decision then. Let
me say something here, and we quickly, because we're almost out of time on this episode. Not a bad decision. No, do not shoot a gun in a foreign country, point blank, period. That is not going to end well. So that he's completely wrong on that point. You do not want to shoot in the air. You do not want to shoot legs. That's complete nonsense, because you will 100% go to jail. And you're in a foreign country. the laws get iffy, that's not going to go well.
One go in the air or shoot one of them niggas in their ankles.
You're not accounting.
You
for
better
that.
get people up off of people.
I don't know what the laws is like.
You're not
I was about
accounting.
to say
You're
that.
not
I don't
accounting
know.
for the other people that might have guns.
Determined
For
security.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
You get what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
hopefully maybe an off-duty cop, somebody that knows the workings or the inner workings
And
of
also has
Germany.
relationships with the people who
That
are
part, too.
working at the venue.
Y'all killing that. That y'all are killing that. These niggas be taking their security from back home.
They man
Even
them.
if you do that, you still need a man on the ground over there.
Right.
You need one. Actually, this kind of happened with Trey Songz.
At the not the Dubai.
And his security, the Dubai shit, the story
Oh,
that went
yeah,
around,
yeah,
where
yeah.
they got into something over there. Trey Songz flew back to wherever he
got
was.
locked up.
They kept the security. The
Yeah.
security was locked up for mad long over there, and I think the security is suing somebody, Trey Songz or somebody. I don't want to speak out my ass. Google it yourself. Refer to the tag.
Yeah, so we'll end it right there with as far as the video, but good points made at the end. At the end, they made a great point where when you are in a foreign country, or even sometimes when you're in country, just moving state to state, whatever the case is, it is beneficial to have a local guy. Even if you have your normal team that you're comfortable with and you're taking them, on the road with you, you want to have at least one local guy who speaks the language, who knows the culture, whatever the case is. And typically he can help you navigate situations and tell you, best practices for wherever you are. Especially good for overseas. You have to have a guy who is local, who can kind of help you navigate and move around as a team. That's important. The last thing that they said, discussing the Trey Songz situation, that is an extremely unfortunate situation. That guard was overseas, ended up putting his hands on somebody to protect his client. And where he was in Dubai, you cannot have any type of physical altercation at all. You can't put your hands on people. And so he ended up going to jail right off the bat for that situation. Another unfortunate situation so it kind of goes back to the point that Joe made, where it is on the client. Typically, it's on the client to determine how safe we can be, because as security, we have to do our job. So if you're going to put us in a situation, you're kind of forcing our hands. And it's unfortunate, but a lot of guys get in trouble and it's almost unavoidable because of the type of client you're with and the decisions that they're making. So that's something to consider as well as a protector. What type of client do you want to be around? Because make no mistake, certain clients will put you in situations and there are real consequences behind making a bad decision in these moments. Doing some of this stuff, like they were saying, shooting in the air and all of this stuff. If you're around a client who's always into confrontation, always into some mess, always wants to start something, and he keeps that energy around him, you are going to be a part of that energy. You're going to be the person who has to step in when things go wrong, and you're opening yourself up to nonsense, to things like this. So unfortunate situation. We have gone way over time. I appreciate you guys stopping in. This has been episode 7. Wow. Episode 7 already. This thing is moving right along. But we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Doormen. I'm Chief, and we're out.